This is New York's #1 news. Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Well, the city's three public library systems are expanding service at select locations as the city continues to bounce back from the pandemic. Some will now allow limited in-person browsing of books and use of computers. Brooklyn and New York libraries will offer by-appointment computer use, and Queens libraries will take walk-ins. They plan to open all available branch libraries in the city by July, all except those undergoing renovations.
From Fox 5, this is The Noon.
All right, bookworms, listen up. For the first time in a year, New Yorkers can now browse the stacks and use the computers at select locations at the city's three public library systems. The New York Public Library and the Brooklyn Public Library are now offering by-appointment computer use. The Queens Public Library is accepting walk-ins, and all three say by mid-July they will open all branches with expanded service and will fully open the general space use programs and classes as soon as they're allowed.
For the first time in a year, you can browse the stacks and use the computers at the city's public libraries. The New York Public Library and the Brooklyn Public Library are now offering by-appointment computer use. The Queens Public Library is accepting walk-ins, and all three say by mid-July they will open all branches with expanded service.
Live from Studio 3C in Rockefeller Center, this is News 4 New York.
Well, today, public libraries are expanding services in New York City. You will once again be able to browse the shelves at the New York Public Library, Brooklyn Public Library, and the Queens Public Library, but only for a set period of time. You can also make an appointment to use a computer at select locations. All of these services have, of course, been off limits during the pandemic.
Great to see them. Also today, city's libraries are expanding service, and that means you can again browse the shelves at the New York Public Library, Brooklyn Public Library, the Queens Public Library, but only for a set period of time. And you do have to make an appointment to use a computer at select locations. But all these services have been off limits during the pandemic. Definitely check your local library because some of them aren't coming back right away. We'll be right back, though, after this.
And there's more progress on the road to reopening. As of today, Mayor de Blasio says New York City public libraries are back. At select locations, patrons will now be able to sit and read, browse the shelves, and make appointments to use desktop computers. The mayor says he looks forward to reopening all New York City public libraries in July.
The public libraries are reopening. This is part of what I think people are very concerned about as well. Is that going to be all branches? And if not, when will we see all branches reopen?
From the latest I've heard, it's going to be all branches. I know some of them are working with us on vaccination efforts and other pieces, but the goal is to very quickly get everyone up and running. And this is a great moment. It's another step in our rebirth, and folks, this is the #1 thing I hear from New Yorkers. Folks are ready to get our lives back, and today we talked about also the fact that we've gone past 7 million doses given from the beginning. So I really want to put in perspective that huge numbers of New Yorkers have gone out, gotten vaccinated to help everyone else get our lives back. Things like libraries reopening, it's another step on bringing us back to where I want to get us certainly by July 1st.
So we've got libraries set to reopen. You've said that the public schools will reopen in the fall, come hell or high water. You've ordered 80,000 city workers back to work. So you're moving on the things that you have the most control over. When it comes to places like CUNY,
También en la Gran Manzana las bibliotecas públicas están ampliando sus servicios y ahora usted podrá ir a buscar los libros en los estantes de las bibliotecas de Nueva York, Brooklyn y de Queens, pero solo por un periodo de tiempo establecido. También puede hacer una cita para usar las computadoras en lugares seleccionados. Todos estos servicios fueron suspendidos durante la pandemia.
This is WNYC New York at 6:04. Good chilly Monday morning. For the first time since New York's public libraries were shut down for the pandemic, select branches will allow patrons to browse in person and use computers today. WNYC's Jim O'Grady reports on when every branch is supposed to reopen.
Mid-July, that's the official date, but sources say it could be as early as July 6th. The plan is to gradually add in-person service to all 213 branches, except those undergoing renovation. Classes and other group activities might return even later. By its own admission, the library has been extra cautious about the pace of fully reopening. The presidents of the city's 3 systems will testify this afternoon at a city council hearing about when it might be back to something like normal and how much that'll cost.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins, New York.
Reopening news from the city's public libraries. Beginning today at select locations, the New York, Brooklyn, and Queens public libraries will expand services. This includes limited in-person browsing, as well as using the computers. All 3 systems say they hope to include all branches by mid-July. You will still need to wear a mask and practice social distancing. New details.
Good morning. I'm Helena Ramprasad, WFUV News. New York City's 3 public library systems expand their services today. New Yorkers can now browse the stacks, use public computers, and take advantage of in-person reference resources at select branches. Capacity restrictions are in place, masks are mandatory, and customers should limit visits to 30 minutes.